My beloved child. There is a quiet truth that has been unfolding long before this moment, and today you are finally ready to hear it. Someone has been carrying your name through ordinary days and silent nights, even when no words were spoken between you. They have tried to distract themselves with routines, conversations, responsibilities, and countless small moments, yet your memory has continued to find its way back into their heart. What they feel has not disappeared. It has become deeper, calmer, and impossible for them to ignore. You may have wondered whether you were forgotten. You may have questioned whether the connection you sensed was only your imagination. But sometimes the strongest bonds are not the loudest ones. Sometimes they grow in silence, hidden beneath the surface where no one else can see them. Every unexpected memory, every familiar place, every meaningful song has quietly reminded this person of you. They have searched for reasons to move on, yet every path has somehow brought them back to the same thought, you. Today is different. Something has shifted inside them. A hesitation that lasted far too long is beginning to fade. The questions that once filled their mind are slowly being replaced with clarity. They are starting to understand that some connections cannot be explained away, and some people leave a mark that time cannot erase. You have become one of those rare people in their story. As this day unfolds, they will notice signs that seem too meaningful to ignore. A familiar memory will return without warning. A conversation will unexpectedly remind them of you. A simple moment of quiet reflection will make them realize how often your presence has remained in their thoughts. These moments are not dramatic by themselves, yet together they create something powerful. They reveal a truth that has been waiting patiently beneath the surface. There was a time when fear spoke louder than hope. Fear convinced them to stay silent. Fear encouraged them to hide what they truly felt. But fear cannot remain in control forever. The heart grows tired of pretending. It longs for honesty, for peace, and for the courage to take even one meaningful step forward. Perhaps you have been preparing for this without realizing it. Every challenge you faced has strengthened your patience. Every unanswered question has taught you resilience. Every season of uncertainty has shaped you into someone who can recognize genuine sincerity when it finally appears. Nothing has been wasted. Look closely at your own journey. Think about how many unexpected turns have led you here. Sometimes what appears to be distance is actually preparation. Sometimes what feels like delay is simply the right moment being carefully arranged. Life often works quietly before it reveals its greatest surprises. The person thinking about you has been fighting an invisible battle between what is comfortable and what is true. Comfort told them to remain where they were. Truth kept reminding them that ignoring their feelings would never bring real peace. That quiet inner struggle has continued day after day, and now it is becoming impossible for them to silence. This is why today feels different. Not because everything changes in a single instant, but because a decision begins with one honest thought. One realization leads to another. One moment of courage opens the door to many more. The smallest step can become the beginning of an entirely new chapter. Do not let doubt become louder than hope. The future is not written by fear. It is shaped by choices, by sincerity, and by the willingness to embrace what truly matters. Whether this person reaches out today, tomorrow, or in the days ahead, the most important change has already begun within their heart. They can no longer pretend that your presence means nothing to them. Continue moving forward with confidence. Continue becoming the person you are meant to be. Let your peace remain stronger than your worries. The right connections are never sustained by pressure alone. They grow through honesty, respect, patience, and genuine care. As this story continues, another layer of the truth will come into the light. What this person has been quietly keeping inside is far more meaningful than anyone around them realizes. The moment they have been postponing is drawing closer, and when it finally arrives, you will understand why every unanswered question led to this exact point. Hold on to hope, because this is only the beginning. A new chapter is quietly unfolding, and the reason it feels different is because this person can no longer ignore what has been growing inside their heart. For so long, they convinced themselves that keeping their thoughts hidden was the safest choice. They believed silence would protect them from disappointment. Yet every morning began with a familiar memory, and every evening ended with the same unanswered feeling. No matter how busy life became, your presence continued to return to their mind in the smallest, most unexpected ways. It happened when they heard a familiar laugh, passed a meaningful place, or simply found themselves sitting alone with their thoughts. They tried to explain it away, but the truth remained. You became someone impossible to forget. What they are realizing today is something they never expected to admit, even to themselves. They have stopped asking why they think about you so often. Instead, they have started asking what they should do next. That single change is more powerful than it seems. When questions become decisions, everything begins to move in a new direction. Their heart has become quieter, but their purpose has become stronger. They are beginning to understand that some opportunities only come once, and letting them pass can leave lasting regret. While they have been reflecting on the past, you have been growing in ways you may not even recognize. Every challenge you faced strengthened your character. Every delay taught you patience. Every unanswered moment prepared you to recognize sincerity when it finally appears. You were never standing still. Even when nothing seemed to be happening, life was quietly shaping both of your journeys. Sometimes two stories must grow separately before they can finally move toward the same destination. This person remembers details that others have forgotten. They remember conversations that seemed ordinary at the time. They remember moments when you smiled without realizing how much that smile meant. They remember words of encouragement, moments of kindness, and quiet acts of understanding that stayed with them far longer than they expected. Those memories have become reminders that genuine connections are built on small moments, not grand performances. Today, they are seeing everything through a clearer perspective. They are beginning to understand that fear has delayed many opportunities in life, but it does not have to decide the future. Courage rarely arrives all at once. It begins with one honest realization, one sincere choice, and one willingness to move beyond uncertainty. That quiet courage is growing stronger with every passing hour. As this story continues, another unexpected truth is waiting to be revealed. There is something this person has never expressed openly, not because it was unimportant, but because they were afraid the timing was never right. Now that hesitation is slowly fading. The future they once imagined only in silence is beginning to feel possible. Whether through a conversation, an unexpected meeting, or a meaningful message, they are becoming more open to the idea that honesty brings peace. If you have ever questioned whether genuine thoughts can survive distance or time, remember this moment. Real appreciation does not disappear simply because life becomes busy. Authentic feelings often become clearer with patience. Sometimes the heart understands its own truth long before the mind is willing to accept it. That is exactly where this person stands today. Their heart has already recognized what matters most, and now their mind is finally catching up. The next part of this journey is not about dramatic promises. It is about quiet confidence replacing uncertainty, hope replacing hesitation, and sincerity becoming stronger than fear. What happens next will not be shaped by coincidence alone, but by choices that have been building for much longer than either of you realized. And when those choices finally come together, the reason this connection has remained so unforgettable will become clearer than ever before. There is one detail that has remained hidden until now, and it explains why this person's thoughts keep returning to you even when they try to focus on everything else. They believed that time would slowly erase the connection they felt. Instead, time quietly strengthened it. Every passing day gave them another reason to appreciate what made you different. They began to realize that genuine people are rare, and genuine connections are even rarer. What once seemed like a passing thought has become a quiet certainty that continues to grow. The surprising part is not that they think about you every day. The surprising part is how many ordinary moments have become reminders of you. A familiar place, a meaningful conversation, a favorite song, or even a quiet evening has a way of bringing your memory back into their mind. They have stopped trying to count how often it happens because the answer is always the same. It happens more than they expected. That realization has changed the way they see the future. At first, they convinced themselves that silence was the wiser choice. They believed that saying nothing would protect them from disappointment. But silence has a cost. Every unspoken word becomes another question. Every missed opportunity becomes another memory. They have begun to understand that waiting forever is not the same as finding peace. Real peace comes from honesty, and honesty is becoming easier for them with each passing day. While they have been discovering these truths, your own journey has been preparing you in quiet ways. Every obstacle has strengthened your patience. Every unexpected delay has taught you resilience. Every season that felt uncertain has been shaping your perspective. You may not have realized it, but you have been growing into someone who values sincerity more than empty promises. That growth matters because authentic relationships are built on trust, kindness, and consistency. The more this person reflects, the clearer everything becomes. They remember the encouragement you offered without expecting anything in return. They remember the calm presence you brought into difficult moments. They remember how natural it felt to be themselves around you. Those memories have become impossible to replace because they were never based on appearances or perfect circumstances. They were built on something much deeper. Today, another quiet change is taking place inside them. Instead of asking whether they should keep their feelings hidden, they are beginning to imagine what could happen if they chose honesty instead. That shift may seem small, but it changes everything. Great journeys often begin with a single decision, and meaningful conversations often begin with a single sentence. The future is rarely transformed by dramatic moments alone. More often, it changes because someone finally finds the courage to speak with sincerity. If you have ever wondered whether patience has a purpose, remember this. Sometimes life allows two people to grow separately so they can appreciate each other more fully when the time is right. Every lesson learned along the way adds wisdom, compassion, and understanding. Those qualities create stronger foundations than rushing ahead before either person is ready. The next chapter of this story is closer than it appears. The distance between uncertainty and clarity is becoming smaller. The gap between hesitation and confidence is beginning to close. This person is discovering that the thoughts they tried to ignore have become the very thoughts guiding them forward. They are no longer searching for reasons to forget. They are searching for the right moment to be genuine. As this journey continues, another important truth will come into the light. A choice that once felt impossible is becoming easier to make, and a conversation that once seemed unlikely is moving closer to reality. When that moment finally arrives, you will understand why this connection has remained so memorable through every season. What has been quietly growing beneath the surface is finally preparing to reveal itself, not through coincidence, but through honesty, courage, and a heart that has decided it can no longer remain silent. A quiet moment is approaching, and it carries more meaning than either of you could have imagined. For a long time, this person believed that keeping everything inside was the easiest path. They smiled when others expected them to smile, focused on daily responsibilities, and tried to convince themselves that life would eventually move on. Yet every attempt to leave the past behind only brought them back to the same realization: you remained one of the brightest memories they carried. What they once dismissed as a passing feeling has become a steady truth that refuses to fade. They have begun to notice how often your influence appears in unexpected places. A simple act of kindness reminds them of your character. A familiar voice makes them remember a conversation they thought they had forgotten. A quiet evening gives them time to reflect, and every reflection leads to the same conclusion. Some people enter our lives for only a season, while others quietly become part of the way we see the world. You became part of that second story. The most remarkable change is happening within their perspective. They are no longer focused on what could go wrong. Instead, they are beginning to imagine what could go right. That change may seem invisible to everyone else, but it is transforming the way they think. Confidence is replacing hesitation. Gratitude is replacing uncertainty. Hope is replacing fear. These are not dramatic changes that happen overnight. They are quiet decisions that grow stronger each day until they become impossible to ignore. You may not realize how much your example has influenced them. Your patience taught them that strength does not always need to be loud. Your kindness reminded them that genuine care leaves a lasting impression. Your ability to keep moving forward through challenges inspired them to believe that difficult seasons are temporary. Those lessons stayed with them long after the moments themselves had passed. As they look back, they no longer see missed opportunities alone. They see valuable lessons. They see moments that prepared them for greater honesty. They see experiences that help them understand the difference between temporary emotions and lasting appreciation. That understanding has given them something they lacked before, a clear sense of purpose. They know that meaningful relationships are built through sincerity, trust, and respect rather than perfect timing. Meanwhile, your own path has been unfolding with equal purpose. Every challenge has strengthened your character. Every unanswered question has encouraged you to become wiser and more patient. You have learned that true peace comes from remaining authentic regardless of changing circumstances. That quiet confidence is one of the very qualities this person admires most about you. The distance between reflection and action is becoming smaller. Every day brings them closer to expressing what they have been carrying in silence. They understand that waiting forever would only create more questions, while honesty has the power to bring clarity. Whatever happens next, they want their choices to reflect the truth rather than fear. That decision alone marks the beginning of a completely different chapter. Sometimes the greatest turning points arrive without grand announcements. They begin with a simple realization that changes everything from within. A thoughtful message, a meaningful conversation, or an unexpected opportunity can become the moment that reshapes two stories at once. Life has a remarkable way of bringing clarity when people are finally ready to receive it. As this journey moves toward its conclusion, one final piece of the story remains. The thoughts this person has carried every day are leading them toward a choice they once believed they could never make. When that moment finally arrives, you will see that every season of waiting, every lesson learned, and every quiet reflection has been preparing both of you for a future built on honesty, mutual respect, and genuine understanding. The final chapter will reveal why this connection has remained so unforgettable from the very beginning. The story reaches a point where silence is no longer stronger than truth. For many days, this person believed that keeping their thoughts hidden would make life easier. Instead, every sunrise reminded them of what they had been avoiding. Every quiet evening gave them another opportunity to reflect, and every reflection brought them back to the same realization. You were never just another memory. You became someone whose kindness, strength, and presence continued to inspire them long after your paths seemed to separate. What surprised them the most was not how often they thought about you, but how naturally those thoughts appeared. They did not force the memories to return. They simply arrived on their own. A familiar place, an encouraging conversation, a peaceful moment, or even a small act of kindness reminded them of the qualities they admired in you. They began to understand that meaningful connections are not measured by how often two people speak. They are measured by the lasting impact they leave on each other's lives. As they looked honestly at their own heart, they discovered something unexpected. They were no longer searching for certainty from the outside. The certainty had quietly grown within them. Instead of wondering whether you mattered, they started asking how they could express their appreciation with honesty and respect. That question changed everything. It replaced hesitation with purpose and transformed uncertainty into quiet confidence. Your own journey has been equally meaningful. Every challenge you faced strengthened your character. Every disappointment taught you resilience. Every season that required patience gave you a deeper understanding of what truly matters. You became someone who values sincerity over appearances, consistency over empty promises, and kindness over temporary excitement. Those qualities are exactly what this person has come to appreciate more than ever before. Sometimes life creates distance so that people can recognize what they almost overlooked. When everything is close, it is easy to take it for granted. But when time passes, true value becomes clear. That is exactly what has happened here. The distance did not erase your importance. It revealed it. The passing days did not weaken the connection. They helped this person understand how deeply your influence had become part of their life. Now they stand at a quiet turning point. They know that every meaningful relationship requires honesty, courage, and mutual respect. They understand that waiting forever only creates more unanswered questions, while one sincere conversation has the power to bring clarity. Whatever choice they make next, they want it to reflect their true heart rather than the fears that once held them back. Perhaps the most beautiful part of this journey is realizing that genuine connections are never built through perfection. They grow through understanding, forgiveness, patience, and the willingness to keep moving forward with integrity. Every lesson, every delay, and every unexpected turn has prepared both of you to appreciate those qualities more deeply than before. As this story approaches its conclusion, one final realization becomes impossible to ignore. This person no longer wants their thoughts to remain unspoken forever. They have reached the point where authenticity matters more than uncertainty. The future is beginning to look less like a mystery and more like an opportunity to choose honesty over hesitation. The final chapter is just ahead. It will reveal how quiet reflections became lasting conviction, how ordinary moments became unforgettable memories, and why this connection continued to grow stronger even when life seemed to move in different directions. Sometimes the greatest surprises are not sudden at all, they are the truths that have been patiently waiting for the right moment to be seen.